guys, it's Aoife from Words of Clover, and I'm here to do a video today about books by Irish authors who the books themselves are about queer characters, or the authors are identify as in the LGBTQIA community. So the first book I want to talk about is obviously a really well-known book, and that is The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. Obviously Oscar Wilde was a gay man, but after reading Dorian Gray is Dorian gay. Like, this is such a gay book. Like, I found this to be like a super gay book, and I just thought it really funny when I was reading it, and I really loved this book. It was such a good book. So this is about a man called Dorian Gray. He's really good looking, he inherits, I think, this house or this estate, and he gets this picture to painted of him, and the more bad things he does, it reflects itself on the picture, and it turns out that he doesn't age the way other people age. He kind of stays young and beautiful forever, but he becomes uglier and uglier on the inside, and this is reflected in the painting. And it's kind of this journey of how Dorian deals with that and the kind of torture that he puts himself through while trying to hide his true self, basically. What I want to talk about is Queen of Koyna Whispers by Helen Corcoran. This is a 2020 release. It came out in June. I do actually have a finished copy of this book, but I have it downstairs somewhere because I gave it to my dad because I want him to read it because I think he might like it. This is the proof copy. She's about a young woman called Leah who inherits her uncle's kingdom, and she's kind of been like a queen in training for her whole life. She kind of knows what she has to deal with when she when she gains the throne, and then she ends up finding this girl Xania who has been in the court for quite a while, and she ends up employing Xania to be basically like her spy master, which I think is called the Spider in this book, which is basically a spy master, and Xania has to kind of, you know, figure out all the things that are happening in the court and all the political intrigue. And then Leah and Xania end up being really attracted towards each other, and throughout the book they're kind of drawn closer and closer together, while Leah is also kind of trying to figure out how to be a queen to this country and how to do the things that she needs to do to make the country better, while not kind of making a lot of people actually want to kill her, which is a really hard thing to do. This is a really great female fantasy. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars overall, I think. And I think Helen Corcoran, I don't think she doesn't have like immediate plans to write more books in this series, but if there's enough interest in this series, she will write more books, like companion books, which I really need. So I need people to read this book, and I need people to, you know, really talk about it, because I need a companion book, so do it for me. Next book I want to talk about is Days Without End by Sebastian Barry. This is a really interesting historical fiction novel which is set around Civil War era America, I think, and we are following two different characters who, one of them is Irish, and they both join the army at the same time, and they're really close to each other, and we soon come to realize that they are in a relationship together. And one of the characters in this seems to strongly identify himself as, I wouldn't say, like, I'm not sure if he like completely identifies, they completely identify as a woman, but there's parts of this book where they dress as a woman and they live life as a woman for a while. The pronouns they prefer are never strictly said on the page, so I'm always a little bit unsure whether to say they or she or he, so I'm just using they. But this is just a really beautifully written book once you get into it, and once you get into the story of these characters and their love life and the things they're doing just to survive. It's a very touching book. It's a very kind of lyrically written book, and it's a book that has a lot of description and a lot of that kind of lyrical writing that some people don't like, but once I kind of figured out that style of writing, I really enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed this beautiful, gentle relationship between these two people, and the way gender identity was explored in this book was absolutely beautiful, so I definitely recommend it. Call Him Mine by Tim McGowan is a book that's set in Mexico, but Tim McGowan himself is Irish, and the character in this book is also an Irish journalist living in Mexico. He is gay, and this story kind of starts off when this journalist's colleague and his lover is killed in this brutal kind of drug crime murder, and it basically sets him on this journey to figure out what this gang is kind of trying to cover up, and what he can do to kind of, I guess, reveal them and kind of take a little bit of revenge for the death of his lover. And this is just a brilliant book that's kind of like set in this like really interesting setting that I haven't really read that much books set in Mexico, particularly set in this kind of really gritty, dangerous, violent streets of Mexico, and the danger that this character is putting himself in all the time by following the story, and it's really great. I really recommend it. Exciting Times by Naoise Dolan is a book I've talked quite a lot about lately on my channel, so I don't want to talk about it too much here, but this is about a character who's bisexual. Her name is Ava. She is in teaching in Hong Kong, and she's basically caught in this bisexual love triangle between two people. Naoise Dolan herself, I'm not sure if Naoise is gay or bisexual, so yeah, this is a good book. Do recommend. Perfectly Preventable Deaths by Deidre Sullivan is a brilliant witchy novel that we are following these twin girls, and they move to this new village where their mother has just remarried this man who kind of lives in this kind of manor estate castle type of place. One of the girls, Caitlin, she ends up falling in love basically with the wrong man who seems to be very dangerous and could potentially ruin her life. And then the other twin, Maddie, she ends up finding out that she could potentially have the ability to do magic, and it's kind of like hedge witch type of magic. It's not like sparks and fire or anything like that. It's like herbs and you know, the moon and things, and that kind of magic. But Maddie is also kind of exploring her own feelings towards another girl in her school, and yeah, dealing with that as well as the witchy stuff, and as well as trying to protect her sister. So yeah, there is a female-female relationship in this book that is really great, and the book itself is great. If Only by Melanie Murphy is a really interesting adult contemporary with a bit of a magical twist. In this one we are following a girl called Erin who is gets this necklace from her granny, and the necklace basically gives her the chance to look back at alternate versions of her life if only she had done something differently. And through this book, Erin ends up kind of discovering what is really important to herself, the type of person that she really wants to be, and the people who are important in her life. I'm not sure if Erin herself has ever really strictly says that she's straight in this book. I kind of feel like she potentially is bisexual, or, you know, pansexual maybe. I actually can't remember if she 100% says that she's only attracted to men. I have a feeling that she could be bisexual, or it's never really stated. But Melanie Murphy, the author of this book, who happens to be a Irish YouTuber, she is a very proud bisexual woman, and yeah, so that's great. And finally, The Space Between by MacGabhann is a beautiful book that is read in verse, and it's about this girl called Beth who plans to spend her whole year inside because she is dealing with a lot of anxiety and agoraphobia. And she ends up meeting, kind of through her window, this girl called Alice, and through this book we end up following Beth and Alice's relationship and how they slowly start to fall in love. And it's just such a beautiful, lovely book, and yeah, I just love this book so much. I talk about it all the time, and if people are looking for a lovely book that's read in verse that also has some really great queer rep, I would definitely recommend this one. Books that I have read that are queer and are also Irish. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys have any suggestions down below or have anything to say, please let me know. I would love to chat in the comments, and I'll see you guys again next time.